What followed that experience?
At the same time that this was going on, after I dealt with my immigration, I came back to work, and that's when my stalker ordeal started. And so it was, stalking is something that I dealt with a family member in the past, and I won't go too much into that, but when it started to me, it was happening to me, like it was something so foreign that like it started off really like it's so randomly, like the person started sending me random messages, and then they'd send me like kissy emojis and love emojis.
Was this someone you knew within a workplace context?
I had no idea who this person was. So
random person.
But the thing is, I had a very public facing role, and it was really my job to go out and engage with the community and see like how I can bring people back and like create this hub. So what basically happened is that one of these people probably got my business card or my number from somewhere and started messaging me saying, I want to work on secret projects with you. And honestly in tech, like there's personalities of like every shape, size, and color. So I didn't think too much of it at first, and then it started to get kind of weird. And this was over the holidays, so I came back to work in January, and then I started noticing, and I lived like a block and a half away from where I worked at the time. I started noticing there was this one guy that would show up every few days and kind of like stare at me.
Repeatedly, like?
Oh yeah, like this went on for 6 months.
Wow.
So he would just show up and stare at me, and then like, it started to become more and more progressive, and then it went from like every few days to every day, and then it would be from like a couple hours to like 10, 12 hours. Did you ever
escalate anything in that early couple of weeks?
I can't even tell you how many times like I escalated, I brought it up, and it was always turned back to me, and it was either, oh my God, you must have done something, like, or just be happy and be flattered that you're getting this attention, or it was like, this is your fault, like, go deal with it, I don't want to hear about it, don't you dare talk about this to anybody. And every time I brought it up, because of my previous experience with the stalking plus this, like, I was in such a traumatic place where half the time I refused to acknowledge that it actually was stalking. I was telling myself, no, okay, like if my female boss is telling me this, I'm overreacting, like I'm crazy, like I'm just, don't be that girl, right? But at the same time, I was so traumatized. I gained 40 pounds in the space of like 6 months.
Wow.
And like my hair was falling out, my skin was horrible, and I didn't realize that like the more I tried to suppress it, the more it came out in other ways. So eventually, like after 6 months, I got to a point where I was like, okay, like I'm either gonna die like this. I'd like wake up every morning with those like palpitations and think like, okay, please be okay, like it's fine, don't overreact.
And did you like ever confront that individual, or
like,
what was that?
Multiple times. Like it was so strange. Like he confronted my brother at one point. My brother had to come like separate and protect me. Like he attacked my brother on the staircase after that.
Oh my goodness.
Like it was just somebody that like I would go and tell him, and I don't think he was particularly mentally well.
Yeah.
Which of course is like a completely different struggle, but that doesn't excuse the fact that he was like able to go in for 6 months, terrorize me like without retribution.
Yeah.
So I was just in a position where I was like, okay, I don't know what to do. Like I can either continue like this, or I can be like, enough is enough, like I need to take care of myself.
And at that point, what did you know about what was available to you around you?
Like, I thought I had no rights. I thought I had to suck it up. I was explicitly told by my employer, do not talk to the board of directors about this. Do not make a thing. Your employment's going to be like in jeopardy.
So everything was on you, technically.
Yeah, and I had been told that like after my 3-month probation would end, at the beginning of my contract, I would get a pay raise, and then they were using that and saying, okay, it was almost a year after, but they say, okay, you had an immigration problem and now you have a stalker, like, do you still want to have a job? Wow. So I was just in a place where I was like, hey, you know what, I prefer to like go and be unemployed and suffer.
For me, I'm looking at both the immigration and this stalking scenario, and like
none
of them are your fault.
To back.
It's not even on you.
But the thing is, when you're in a situation like that, and when things happen to you, no matter how much is not your fault, you feel like, okay, if something happened to me, it's my fault. I brought this on myself. I have so much shame. And at the same time, Amir was always coming and telling me like, you have a stalker, you can't do this. And I'd be like, nah, you're just saying that. And he kept telling me, okay, look, like if this is what you're passionate about, come and join me at Botler. Let's make this an official, actual company. Let's go and like broaden our mission and say, okay,